My name is Matt Cheney, lead organizer of the conference, managing partner of Chapter 3. And it's my privilege to formally welcome all of you to DrupalCon San Francisco. Over 6 months ago, I stood on stage in Paris and invited everyone to come to what we hope to be the biggest and best DrupalCon yet. It's all still a little overwhelming, but with 3,000 attendees, hundreds of sessions, and Drupal 7 just around the corner, on behalf of everyone who's helped make this conference happen, we hope you have a wonderful week of Drupal magic. The man I'm about to introduce requires no introduction. Almost 10 years ago, he started a thing called Drupal to help people build websites. I spent those last 10 years with the help of thousands of other people growing something that's truly amazing, and has changed a lot of our lives for the better. For everyone in this room, everyone who's watching the live stream in Europe and elsewhere, please join me in a round of applause for Dries Biertart, project lead of Drupal, CTO of Acquia, for your State of Drupal keynote address.
There we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Wow. This is a little intimidating. But hopefully it will be fun, right? So, are my slides up? Alrighty, here we go. I'm going to talk a little bit about the state of Drupal the next 40 minutes or so. Not entirely sure how long it will take. I might start talking really fast. But we'll see. So, for those people that still doubt it, Drupal has been a pretty crazy ride, honestly, the last couple of years. From the moment that I started Drupal 10 years ago, this is me, my student dorm, 10 years ago, where the dorm that I started Drupal in, all the way to the very first DrupalCon, which was 5 years ago, and 5 years after I started Drupal, so smack in the middle of where we are today, where we had about 40 people to being here today with I think almost 3,000 people attending. So needless to say, I'm very excited. I'm very proud to be here. I'm actually honored to be here as well. And while I might have started Drupal, it's truly the work of thousands of people all around the world. And so I want to be very grateful and thankful for that. So it's great to see you at this conference. I think these conferences are really important. A lot of things which are in Drupal today have been the result of those conferences before. And so I hope you have a very productive week, that we do a lot of brainstorming, a lot of planning. Now we help shape the future of Drupal. As most of you know, unfortunately, we have a little volcano happening in Iceland, sending ash clouds all over Europe. Shutting down airports all over Europe, and as a result, a lot of us can be here. And so one amazing thing happened actually the last couple of days. As airports were shutting down, people were being prevented to travel to San Francisco. They started to self-organize, and one of the first things people did in Europe was actually sort of collaborate, rally around this map, and sort of put their positions on the map. So. This is a map of all of the people, basically back in Europe. And so the next thing that happened is that people started to organize local DrupalCons in Europe. And so right now, this week, as we are having DrupalCon San Francisco, people are organizing DrupalCon Antwerp in Belgium. There's DrupalCon London, in the UK, and there's other small DrupalCons everywhere in Europe, which I think is pretty amazing. To see, and we're also live streaming this, thanks to Brightcove to everywhere basically, which makes it even more intimidating. But anyway, I think it speaks to the fact that it's really truly amazing to see people self-organize like this, because they're so passionate about Drupal. And I don't know about you, but you know, those kind of things, they continue to amaze me every day. And it seems like these kind of things are happening over and over again. So, and it's, I don't know, it's always nice to see us root around with volcanoes, right? I don't think many projects can say that. So, you know, while I started Drupal, you know, when I started Drupal, I didn't have a grand vision for the project at all. I mean, I never imagined it would, you know, end up like this. I mean, I basically expected, like, you know, 10 people or so to use it. So I was off by a factor of, I don't know, 50,000 or something. But it's a little bit like many other technologies, and you know, the phone system, the landline, is one of those. It was initially invented so people could actually dial into theaters, so they could listen to live performances. And it wasn't until later that it sort of evolved into the phone system that we know today, and that connects millions of people, and that actually helped form the internet, or was, you know, a critical part in creating the internet. And the same thing is true for text messaging, or SMS. When the protocol was invented, they essentially had some spare, you know, spare data slots in, you know, in the packets, and so they didn't really have a use for SMS or text messages. You know, they basically said, well, maybe the operators at some point can use it to exchange status messages or something. And so it wasn't, again, it wasn't until, you know, this technology got into the hands of users that they actually created a real use for it. And you know, that's been true for the telephone system, has been true for text messages, and you know, certainly has been true for Drupal as well. Right? The fact that Drupal is what it is today is because of all of those people. So the big lesson, of course, is that invention isn't the creation of a single person. It's a collaborative process that takes a lot of time. And it sort of happens in many unexpected ways, just like, you know, these DrupalCons being organized everywhere. And so I want to thank you all for, you know, giving back to Drupal and helping Drupal make what it is. And it's pretty amazing. I've been able to do things which I never imagined I would do. I've been, you know, working with people like you that I never imagined I would be working with. And I've been able to work on projects that I could only dream of working on it. So, you know, it truly changed my life. Actually, I think it changed my life to the point that I'll tell my grandchildren about it, you know, about all the things we did together, and all of you, and how we, you know, basically pulled this off every single time, and how we kept growing. And so, one of the things I'm really curious about is you know, for how many of you Drupal changed your life? And if it did, you know, please stand up for a moment so, you know, we can see. Wow.
All of us.
Oh, it's really cool. I have, you know, goosebumps, I guess is the word. All right, cool, thank you. So let's get started. Every state of Drupal comes sort of with an update of some of the developments that are happening. And so I wanted to flip through some of those real quick. The first one is so yes, replacing you know, CVS with Git. For those who don't know Git, I think everybody knows Git, but it's a distributed revision control system, you know, to manage our source code, but also to manage how we work together. And so we made a decision a couple of weeks ago, and we'll be switching to Git, probably in the Drupal 8 development cycle somewhere. I don't really know what the status is right now, but I think we need help with the actual switching. It's actually a pretty big task. Making the decision was relatively easy, although it took us many years. You know, the switching part will definitely you know, require some help, but I think it will be very good. I think it will give us new ways of working together. You know, I think for me, for example, I think it will be easier to accept bigger patches. I think people will be able to use Git to